Louis Gohmert, 1st District out there in the great state of Texas. Congressman, always great to see you. Biden's White House says that the humanitarian crisis and the harm being done to Texans and to Americans, it's not a crisis at the border. You know what? I believe them. I truly believe they think that when Americans are harmed, it's not a crisis. It's because they reject America first. What say you?
Well, obviously, what they're looking at is potential voters. It doesn't matter to them if they're going to vote illegally or not. They're looking for voters. They obviously made an all-out push for felons, even in prison, to vote. That's the way they see the future of their party. Their hope, more people illegally here don't understand the main language utilized, easier to dissuade from doing what they would otherwise if they knew the truth. Felons in prison, that's their future, the future of their party. But listen, on the border, it really isn't just a border crisis. At least Biden is getting that part right. It is a national crisis. And Chris, I've been down there on the border too many times, all hours of the day and night. And I've seen them standing in the dark. They're lined up. They're being in process. The Border Patrolman starting at the other end. And you've got people that are passing kids around. Who's going to be the parent? Who's going to take? And they're pushing kids around to decide who's going to act like their parent. I've seen them with the little addresses that the drug cartels get them on where they want them to be shipped. By ICE, by Border Patrol, taking them in, and they're switching it. I want to go there. And then they tell the Border Patrol, yeah, this is where my relative is, and the government pays to ship them all over the country. And when I've heard Border Patrol say, how did you pay for this? Oh, they're going to let me work it off when I get where I'm going. We are paying to ship drug sellers all over the country, and they're all over the country now.
Wow. All right. Former President Trump ripping into Joe Biden today, taking 6 weeks to erase all the gains that President Trump made over the last 4 years at the border. President Trump saying, quote, the spiraling tsunami at the border is overwhelming local communities, depleting budgets, crowding hospitals, and taking jobs from legal American workers. When I left office, we had achieved the most secure border in our country's history. Under Biden, it will soon be worse, more dangerous, and more out of control than ever before. Jen Psaki responded today. Congressman, watch.
We don't take our advice or counsel from former President Trump on immigration policy, which was not only inhumane, but ineffective. Over the last 4 years, we're going to chart our own path forward, and that includes treating children with humanity and respect and ensuring they're safe when they cross our borders.
Yeah, and she makes it sound like only children are doing that. And by the way, illegal crossings by children and unaccompanied minors, I think I saw 47 when Trump left office. It's now up to 331 now that Biden is in office. And of course, the travel, as you know, Congressman, through Mexico, these children are getting molested. These children are getting hurt or worse. And the Biden administration is incentivizing parents to send these children by themselves. And they call that humanitarian.
Yeah. And Jen Psaki is right. They're not taking their advice from President Trump. If they were, they would be saving so many more children. And if anybody really cares deeply about those people coming in illegally across our southern border, the best thing we could do, the most loving and kind and caring thing we could do is totally secure the border, because those children wouldn't be being molested and being trafficked. And in fact, I'm sure, well, it's probably unknowingly, but this Biden administration, I don't say Joe Biden because I don't know who's pulling his strings, but this administration is the biggest, best accomplice the drug cartels in Mexico have going for them. They are doing more now that it's reopening. They will make billions and billions more than they could during the Trump administration. And who's going to suffer? Well, all of these people being trafficked, they get sent and are slave labor, basically, selling drugs, being sex trafficked out. And who's to blame? Well, it has to fall at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, where the biggest accomplice to the drug cartels whether knowing or unknowing, is in residence.
Absolutely. I've only got about 60 seconds left, Congressman. A local representative in Texas, a state rep, is trying to introduce a bill to allow Texas taxpayers to fund finishing the border wall in Texas. Do you anticipate that Biden will sue to stop that from happening?
Yeah, he's doing everything he can, again, knowingly or unknowingly, to help the drug cartels. They're definitely going to be working on that. But real quickly, I've been down there when Constable would arrest people that he saw cross the river illegally. And I said, I'm thrilled, somebody is taking action. This was during the Obama administration, but how are you arresting them? The Supreme Court said you can't. He said, did you pay $4 to get in this park? And I said, yeah. And he said, he didn't. So he's trespassing. And that's why I arrested him. So there are some.
Good. Hey, I'm glad to know somebody out there adheres to the rule of law. If the White House does it, Congressman, thank you very much. Appreciate the time as always. Calls for Cuomo to resign growing as one of his aides says he